Alright guys, today we will be replacing the drum brakes on the rear of the Nissan Sentra 2008. But these will be a pretty good explanation for all of it. We're going to be doing the whole setup. Alright, here we go.
That's why I have the e-brake on.
Alright guys, now once you get your tire off, you can take off your drum, but if it is stuck, you can beat it with a mallet, you know, and see if you can break it loose, or get you a couple bolts right here and you can use your impact and screw those in and then pop it off. So we had to do that on the other side, but on this side it was a little looser. I'd had some work done already, so there you go. All right, now we're going to get into dismantling this thing. Back rear drum brakes on this Nissan Sentra. We are also going to replace the wheel cylinder here, so I'll show you all this spring setup and everything you need to know. So stay tuned. This one's already been replaced, but I want to give you a picture of it just so you can see the springs, which spring goes under, which side goes on top. And you know, sometimes when you're looking at it from a reverse side, it kind of gets a little confusing, but I'm going to show you how exactly to do this on the other side. But this is a shot of the driver's side. Obviously you need to take the tire off and the rotor. I am going to replace those as well. They're pretty easy to replace. I mean, they literally just come off of there. You got to slide them off to get to this, but I'll show you all that on the other side, so stay tuned. All right guys, a couple tools that you're going to want are probably gloves. Brakes tend to be pretty dirty. I recommend a rubber mallet, especially if you live up north. A pair of needle nose, screwdriver, an 8 and a 10mm wrench. Nice to have a socket as well, but you need the open end. You're going to need an open end on the 8mm. So all right, when you get your wheel off, this may not come off, so that's when you're going to use the mallet. You're going to strike it, just strike it around, see if you can get it off. You still may not be able to get it off, and you're going to get screws that thread right into these two holes. I say screws, but they're going to be bolts, and they're going to screw in, and then you'll just alternately screw this back and forth. You're going to screw these in, and it should pop out your brake here. And once you do that, you're going to pop it off, and you are good to go. Alright, now let's get into this. Gonna start taking these springs off. Just gonna pull that spring out there, and that's gonna make the rest of the job pretty easy. What we're gonna do, turn these. I got all new clips. And all new fittings, but I knew I was going to need all new stuff, so I just bought new shoes, new springs, new everything. You don't have to. New cylinder. Alright, as you can see, these just fit into that little slot right there. Give y'all a better view of what I'm doing here, but your hands get in the way of the having a rough time spinning this one. Like I said, if your brakes are rusty, it is going to be a pain, that's for sure. There you go. Got that off, and like I said, once you get that bottom spring off, kind of everything just kind of comes a little bit looser, so that these other springs are going to be a lot easier to get off. So now they won't have as much tension on them, and it'll be a little easier to get off. There we go. Sometimes you can use your screwdriver. That's not always going to work, but it can work. There we go. Now we're getting things loose in here. There we go. And it finally rattles loose. Now you got this piece right here. Got to get it around to the back side. I'm gonna go grab a thicker screwdriver because we have to bend that little piece right there apart. Okay, but that's why I showed you a picture, because you're gonna have to put all this back together, and once it starts falling apart, it comes apart. So really got to know how it went together to start with so that you can put it back together. Just be careful when you're doing a lot of this stuff, because you are applying a lot of force and you don't want to jam your hand. You know, you're just everything you're doing, you're applying so much force with it, so you want to just be careful where that force is aimed at. So I just use these pliers, and to get this off I just use these pliers, and I just kind of got right on there on one end of this, and I just pressed it, you know, and pushed it back. So now that I got it pushed back, I should be able to pry it off of there with a screwdriver. And there she goes. All right, we're in it. You can skip this part if you're not changing yours, but since I got in here, I'm just gonna change it all real quick. To do that, you're gonna need a 10mm for this, and you will have some brake fluid come out, and so we are gonna have to bleed our brakes, which this is used for. Put this in a water bottle. If you have a water bottle, once you take this off, put it in a water bottle. That way any brake fluid that leaks will go into that water bottle, and then we'll just put this in. But once you take out the line, you got to take out these two 10mm bolts right here. Take off the line, 10mm, 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 and you should be good to go. The thing should come out of there. All right, so as you can see, we took out these two 10mm, and then as you can see, we took out these two 10mm, and now we are about to just take out this brake line and shove it into this hose right here, just in case. Get some water going out or something. Get some brake fluid going out, obviously. All right, we got that done. Now we need to get this out. And again, if you live in depending on where you live or where your car came from, this may or may not come out easily. Eventually, it will come out of there. There you go. You even saw it. So, all right. There we go. And she's out. It's just all this rust and corrosion on this one holds it in there. Come with a little cap so you don't get dirty, but and then we're gonna go ahead and hook our oil line back up. Take out that plug right there, and there we go. All right, I'm gonna tighten those up and then I'll get back with you. All right guys, so first off, this has to be on the underside. So when you put this shoe up here, you're gonna want this on the back side. So what we're gonna do is just hold it down like that. Okay, and you can take your little horseshoe clip, put it over there, then got to squeeze that together, Make sure it doesn't come off of there. All right, now we're up. See it start to come back together. Just gonna go opposite of the way we started. Alright guys, so you got this piece. The one with the two ends kind of goes where you had that big plate. And then obviously the one with the small end is going to go on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and hold my brakes in place with my clips so they're easier to work on, and these are easy to take off if it's not kinda feeling like it's not doing what you wanted to do. All right, kind of squeeze everything in there. Obviously probably want to do the underside first, and then we're going to try to see if we can get that in there. And we did. There you go. Alright guys, we got to get these springs in there. And just remember, it goes to this second one right here, not this one. It goes to that one. I actually messed up and put it in that first one. Couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. Alright guys, we got that spring in, and we are going to put in the spacer right there, kind of like how we talked about, the big end right there and the little end down there. We are going to have to spread this apart to get that in there. There we go. Alright, to put in this big black spring, we're going to go ahead and got to get your other piece here for the adjustment. And this end goes in there, and then we're going to go ahead and clip that spring onto there. I'll see if I can do it. There we go. All right, now we are ready. We're just going to have to adjust and bleed the brakes. There you go, you're all complete. Nice little picture of what she looks like. All right, now we're gonna bleed our brakes. We just hooked up a hose to our piece right there, and we loosen that, and basically it opens a valve to bleed the brakes. All right, and what you want to make sure is you're not sucking any old brake fluid or brake fluid black up in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and
we know you're good.
I think we got enough air out, and what we'll do is we'll have them close them off one at a time as I'm pressing on the brake. Hey guys, sorry about that, lost a little bit of video, but just kind of explain that a little bit more. That little pipet right there that you're going to put that little plastic piece of tube on, it's like a valve. So you unloosen it, have one guy pumping the brakes, let that fluid come out until you see no bubbles, and then tighten that one up, go to the next one, and pump that one as well. So that's kind of a two-man operation you're going to need. And the reason I said don't let it suck back up, sometimes it will suck back up. You don't want that plastic tube too far down into that bottle. You know, make sure it's squirting brake fluid, and then you're definitely going to want to go back and make sure you keep your brake fluid reservoir full while you're doing that. Make sure you keep your brake fluid reservoir full while you're doing that. Other than that, you should be good to go. Make sure you have your hub on, you know, before you do that as well, because you can be expanding and contracting your brakes. Now, to kind of set those drum brakes, a lot of people say you're just going to back up, you know, back up for about 100 yards and just keep pressing on your brake, come to a complete stop, go back up a little bit more, press your brake, and that helps adjust those that little dial on that piece that we put in there. So other than that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. 2008 Nissan Sentra. We'll be doing a lot of stuff to it. It needs a lot of stuff. No, it doesn't. It's actually a great running car.